a quick little video of some stuff I was enjoying, you know? And that being Revenant and the Phantasma. I just recently got Revenant, so I'm kind of late to that party as well as the Phantasma. But this thing is great. I really like it. The design is kind of unique. It kind of reminds me of like a Railjack or something. So, and Revenant, he's pretty cool too. The only thing I kind of don't like about Revenant is his glowy parts right there, especially like on his face. I don't like it. But I like Revenant. So here's the build I'm gonna be working with here. It's kind of a budget build, not for the Phantasma, but for Revenant for sure. I haven't put a reactor in him or anything, so if you just picked up Revenant like I did and you're not sure if he's worth the reactor or not, this will let you know. So I have regular stuff here, you know, corrosive projection, flow, intensify, augur secrets. Uh, in this slot I put adaptation, but I know that's like something you get really late in the game, but gladiator finesse works okay as like a buffer until you get adaptation. Adaptation is better. Continuity and augur message. So I'll go over Revenant's abilities in a second, but first I want to talk about the Phantasma. The Phantasma does get a boost when Revenant is using it. It gets a little bit more magazine, about 4 more. Gets 4 more magazine. So I noticed a couple of things with this. It has 100% accuracy without vicious spread. So like if you take this, it goes to 100%. But a vicious spread is really strong with this weapon. So let me show you what it's like without it first. Alright, so without vicious spread, it's pretty much a straight line. See? And it reloads so fast. Very nice, right? And with the vicious spread, it's like much wider. So you get something like this. See, it's like wide. It's like super wide. And that's what makes it like really fun for me to use. So I'll go over the builds that I'm using here. I have Toxic Barrage, Frigid Blast to make viral. And then Scattering Inferno and Blaze for heat. Then I got my Vicious Spread for the extra damage and spread. Vigilante Armaments at 8. Point Blank and Hell's Chamber. And then I did unlock Informa this, so it could be good with Vigilante supplies, because I did notice this weapon is very ammo hungry. So you burn through your ammo pretty quickly. But if you have something like Carrier or something like a mutation or something like that to keep your ammo good, this weapon will last quite a while. So I'm going to show how good the weapon can be. These are going to be Corrupted Heavy Gunners, level 100. Okay, so there they are. So you just kind of like aim, and like the viral does like a lot of work, and you reload so quickly that you can just like if you're running something excuse me, if you're running something like condition overload, all you gotta do is tap them and let the weapon do the rest of the work. So you just tap them and then you can like hit them with your weapon and you'll get all those condition overload bits. And this thing just like wipes out enemies, man. It's like so cool. Like look at that. There goes their health. It's really fun. I love this thing. Yeah, it just wipes out rooms of enemies and like it does it so effectively and so efficiently. It just like takes care of anything, and I can just hold the trigger and it'll reload in 1 second, and then like I can just stack whatever I want onto the enemy. And this weapon, it does have a secondary fire, but it's not, I will say it's not as impressive. So I'll show the secondary fire. Alright, so the secondary fire, it shoots like these little grenades. And then those little things, they like follow enemies. And those are like 100% status. So they're not as strong. So I don't really use it like that. I just kind of do this. And then if I want, I can slash everything up. Because I always run a condition overload on my melee weapons. And you could just take care of things like that. And I can get my combo counter up. Or if I don't want to, I can just keep shooting them and they'll die. So it works both ways. I do like this thing. This thing is great. There is a significant difference between the vicious spread and not having the vicious spread. I think with the vicious spread it's much better. So let me talk about Revenant's powers. Right. So Revenant, he's like almost like kind of like Nyx, where he controls enemies. That's like his thing. His thing is to control enemies. So there's your first ability is Enthrall. So you take some energy and then you enthrall an enemy. So you can tell they have like a little ghost thing on top of their head. That's how you know they're enthralled. So what this enthralled enemy is going to do, it's going to attack the other enemies, like if it had radiation. And then if it attacks enough to another enemy, it'll move the well, it'll add another enthrall to them. So I can go ahead and, I mean, I guess it's going to be a little chaotic if I unpause the AI right now. But it'll move from person to person. So eventually you can have like multiple enthralled here. And what's good about it is that when an enthralled enemy dies, right? Hold on. They leave little pillars like this, right? And then the little pillars will enthrall other enemies. You see? So it's pretty good. And so you can enthrall very effectively like that. You can get a lot of the map enthralled. And so why do you want enthralled enemies? One, because they're not shooting at you anymore. And two, is they'll enthrall more enemies so they cannot shoot at you anymore. And then like 3 and 4, 3 is because with your second ability, you get Mesmer Skin. Okay, so Mesmer Skin, it gives you a little count there at the bottom. It says 9, right, for me. So that means I can get hit 9 times and nothing will happen to me. After 9 times, then yeah, I'll start taking damage. But before that, I can't take damage. So that's pretty fun. And this lasts forever. But there is a timer on it when you lose the last stack. When you lose the last stack, it'll say 0. And then you have however much your duration gives you, and mine is like 8 seconds, to restack them. Right? And then so how can you restack them? One, you can just cast the ability again, or if you have enthralled enemies, you can use your third ability, right? And you'll dash through them, and then you'll get your stacks back per enemy that has enthralled, up to your max. So my max is 9. So if I had lost all of my stacks and then I dash through these guys, I'll get 2 stacks back. Right, and you can pass through the same ones. Like I can pass through forward and back, like I can do it like that. Oops. Yeah, that happens to me a lot. And you do damage your thralls while you're doing that. So you can see their full health. Alright, and then I dash through them. And then now they're like, a bunch of their health is gone. So it's a pretty strong ability, but it is costly. It's a very costly ability. So, and his fourth ability, also I take away their health and their shields. So if I need health and shields and I dash through, then I can get them back. Up until overshields as well. So if I use my fourth ability, which is like this, right? Right. And they die, they're gonna leave little overshield pickups. So I get even more overshield up until my cap. So that's pretty much how Revenant works. When you are using your fourth ability, you can press R2. Like here's regular, and then I press R2, and then the beams get a little stronger. Right, and then the beams they change depending on what enemy that they're hitting. And you also redirect damage. So you're pretty protected while you're using it. It is kind of cost heavy too. So I always put flow on Revenant for that. But it does change, like when I'm fighting Infested, I believe it turns into fire. And then when it's like Grenier or something, and they're heavily armored, it changes to corrosive. So it's based on whatever they're weak to. It's pretty handy ability, very versatile. That's why I'm liking Revenant, because he's pretty durable, and he can pretty much handle any kind of enemy because he can enthrall them, and that makes him much less of a threat. And then if you reave through them, if you are missing shield or health, you can get it back. And obviously you should have your Mesmer skin up all the time, as much as you can, because then you're not taking damage from anything while you have your Mesmer skin. And then while you do have your Mesmer skin and you're getting your overshields, that gives you even more survivability when you do lose all of your stacks. And like, let's say you lost all of your energy or something, and you couldn't make any more thralls or something like that. You can get your overshield. You should have your overshield up to protect you from like a couple of hits before you restart that process again. That's why I would highly recommend you use Zenuric with Revenant, because you can just replenish your own energy, and in a sense you're replenishing your unkillability. You know, he becomes unkillable because as long as you have energy and you can have Mesmer skin and thralls, you can't die. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. The last thing about Mesmer skin I want to show here. Let's change this. We'll show like maybe like a couple of enemies. We'll show like 5 enemies. Is that if you have Mesmer skin active, right? And these guys are shooting at me. Let's say they're shooting at me, right? If they attack me, they're going to be stunned, right? And when they're stunned, I can cast my first ability for free. Right, so now they're all mine now, and they'll fight for me. So yeah, I have 6 stacks, and I can dash through them, and I can get my other 3 that are missing. Right, so these guys are mine now. And that's pretty much how most of the matches go. And then when I have no use for them anymore, I just kill them. And then I have overshield. And you'll see a bunch of little pools like this. So you can even when you're not using your first ability, this thing will still activate. It's cool. So you can get into a flow to where you have your Mesmer skin active, an enemy hits you, you enthrall them, and then they enthrall a bunch of other enemies. And then once you lose enough stacks, you dash through them, and then you refresh your stacks. And then when you have no use for them anymore, you do your fourth ability, and then you get overshield in return for it. It's a cool little cycle. It's not as complicated as like I feel Ember has more juggling to it, and with Revenant it feels really laid back. You can just go in a mission, cast your Mesmer Skin, and then like nothing can bother you for a good while. It's really fun. So, um, if you enjoyed it, that's great. I like Revenant. And I hope you try Revenant too. He's not that hard to get. I just took so long to get him because I thought he kind of sucked. But in use, I really found his abilities very entertaining and very kind of fun to use. It's like engaging, because I'm not just going in there and just killing everything. I'm thinking about, oh, did that guy get stunned right now? Oh, and a little tidbit. Um, his enthrall, it does work on like acolytes, and it does work on the stalker. So if you have trouble with the stalker or something, and you happen to be revenant, just enthrall him, and then for a good little bit, he'll be enthralled, and you can get a bunch of hits on him. And also, if you're doing disruption, and the guy that comes running and explodes the conduit, if you run into him, um, and you have Mesmer Skin, he will be stunned, but he won't be enthralled. But you can stun him, and that whole time that he's stunned, it's a lot. It's like really significant. So you can like if you have trouble with disruption, Revenant's great at that too, because you just stun him and he just stays there. He just stops what he's doing and he just stays there. So he doesn't cancel out your ability. So that's another tip. I mean, I like him. I like Revenant. I think as soon as I can get a Orkin reactor, I'm gonna pump that in this full, and I'm gonna see how far I can take him because he's pretty interesting. I like using him. A lot of Warframes sometimes they're just like they just do one thing, but Revenant seems pretty cool, pretty interesting. So I'll catch you guys next time.